You're listening to Golden Hour Drip with Logan Lee Miller, a lifestyle podcast dedicated to sharing the ins and outs of your everyday life. Kicking opinions to the curb, this Western-inspired creator redefines what it means to be your own Golden Hour. Welcome to Golden Hour Drip.
Let's get rowdy. Hello everyone, welcome back to Golden Hour Drip. Thank you for joining me in today's episode, Keeping a Motivated Mindset. My name is Logan, the founder and blog host of Golden Hour Drip, and man, are we going through some changes. Now, if you don't know already, I got married, and so we have been going through changing my name, Logan Lee. If you're one of my close friends, you know that my first name is actually Taylor, and so it's Taylor Logan Lee, but since I got married, we're adding Miller to it. Now, the whole thing has been whether or not I'm going to keep Taylor, or if I'm just going to cut Taylor off and go with Logan Lee Miller, because I know I want to keep Lee, not because, I feel that I don't want to take Garrett's last name, but more in the aspect of people know me by Logan Lee, and a lot of people actually think that Lee is my middle name, and so people will be like, oh, what's your last name? I'm like, it's Lee. And then they're like, oh, what's your middle name? I was like, Logan. And so there's a lot of confusion with, Taylor being my first name, but never ever using Taylor as my name that I go by. And it's not that I don't like Taylor. I love Taylor. I think it's awesome. It's part of me. It's the girly part of me, I guess, if you wanted to say that, because Logan is a unisex name. And there's a lot of boys that actually have the name Logan. If you didn't know, holy smokes. I think in my elementary there was 4 other Logans, and they were boys, and I was the only girl Logan. But my mom and dad, they just really wanted to call me by my middle name and loved Taylor, loved Logan, and just thought it would sound better with Taylor in the beginning. So on one hand, I'm I don't want to take away all the hard work that my parents put into choosing my name, Taylor Logan Lee, but also I don't go by Taylor, and it's kind of annoying when I love Logan. I want to go by Logan now that I'm older as well, because I've just grown into that name. But now it's okay, what do I do? Taylor Logan Lee Miller? That's a mouthful. Or just Logan Lee Miller. So we've been going through that, but on the cover art, if you guys have noticed, it has changed. So it was awesome to have my previous cover art. I mean, we have been doing this podcast for 10 months now. Woo! And so, doing that first cover art, I was so proud of it. I did it on PixArt. I took the photo on literally one of the coldest days in January, but the sun was shining. And I just remember thinking, you know what? Today is the day I'm going to go take my podcast photo, because I had just been putting off starting a podcast in general. Not necessarily, I guess, putting it off, but always thinking that I was just not quite there, not quite ready. And so it was just having that motivational mindset, hey, we're going to go out, we are going to take a photo. I wore a tank top, and it was so cold. I think it was 12 degrees out. The sun was shining, so it felt kind of warm, but it was so cold. And as soon as the sun was setting, Golden Hour Drip, if you will. And so the sun was setting, and it was going down, and it was getting colder, and my skin was literally pink. I had to edit the photo because the first photo I took that I absolutely love, I say first photo, I literally took probably 200 photos of myself. But the photo that I felt was the prettiest, the one that I wanted, the one that I felt encompassed everything about this podcast, it was a little too close. So I had to cut out myself and make a new background with pieces of other photos. So it definitely, the whole editing photos really got a little crash course right there. So I literally pieced together 3 different photos to make my cover art, and then on top of that I put Golden Hour Drip with Logan Lee. So that, I'm so proud of that logo. I'm so proud of all the effort that I put into it. But I felt like it was time for an upgrade, and when I made it, I thought it was so professional. I mean, we all think when we're doing what we're doing, I know I like to put forth my entire effort. So if I'm doing something, it's like 110%. This is the best I can do at this moment. But that doesn't mean like 5 months from now, 10 months from now, I can't grow and, hone in more skills and be a little bit better. And so that's what I did. So if you notice the new change for the cover art, it's a different photograph. I took it inside instead of outside. Just to give it more professionalism. And I also changed up the wording, with Logan Lee Miller. So that's been quite a change. I have not got my marriage license back in the mail. I'm sure with all of the voting and stuff going on that mail kind of can, get set back a little bit, and shipping and everything. So, have not got the marriage license back yet, so I still have a little bit of time before I have to decide whether or not I want to keep Taylor or if I just want to be Logan Lee Miller. So, but yeah, the cover art got started. We have a new intro. If you guys haven't noticed, I got a little help from Cade Connolly. He has his own music studio, and so he helped put that together for me, which was awesome. He's such a great guy, and he really worked with me in all of my, needs and wants of the intro. And so we'll probably update it just a little bit more, but like I say, you gotta launch, you got to actually put something out. It might be messy, it might be, not perfect, but if you get it out there, at least it's out there, and then you have like a baseline. And that's what I do, like for writing papers or anything. Like I've always just felt like, okay, if I can just get something down, if I can just put the first coat down, like then I can refine it, then I can get a little bit better, and just make something more. And so that's what we did. We wanted to keep some of the same music because that's what I'm used to, that's what I love. And adapting and growing is great, and I want to continue to do that, but that doesn't mean that we have to totally start from scratch. So we got a new intro. That was awesome. I have started to actually update on the website. I've not done that since June when I first launched my website, if you guys remember that, but my mental health completely went down the gutter, which was annoying to some extent, but I just had a lot of stress, a lot of pressures on me. Some of it was made up stress, I put it on myself, but I just felt at that point in time I needed to take a break and I needed to focus on other things. And so now I'm finally feeling a little bit better, a little bit I have more clarity, I am more centered and more focused on going forward. And so I have started to work on my website a little bit more, and my first blog post is up, and I will be posting another one on Wednesday. So I'll try to do the blog posts on the websites on Wednesdays, and then of course we are not changing the podcast upload date. It's always going to be on Mondays, or so I say that. We could change in the future, you never know what happens. But so blog posting is going to start on goldenhourdrip.com, so you can go visit there, and then I will also have the podcast on there as well, so you can find a link. It'll just be a good landing ground for all things Logan Lee Miller and Golden Hour Drip. So that is another change, another addition that I've been working on and doing, and that has been crazy. I'm not a website gal. That is a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm all about pushing forward and trying to just make the changes that need to be made. And so I love learning new things. I think, I went to college, I loved learning, I loved everything about structure and turning in papers and just acquiring new knowledge, but I hated having to do things for a grade. And so I'm so glad that college is over. I'm done with that. I'm done with school in general, but that doesn't mean that we can't be learning every day. And so this gives me an excuse to push myself and stay motivated to learning new things that I normally wouldn't. So yeah, the name, the new intro, the website, and then YouTube videos. So I did try this when I first started. to do a couple YouTube videos while I am recording my podcast, just to give people a visual if they want to see me talk. Although, it's in the beginning, I was just trying to upload a podcast whenever I could. I just wanted to, get something out there and do it. And well, it was a little bit tricky because sometimes I would be recording in the middle of the night. Sometimes I was recording, not in the daylight. I was recording in the middle of the night. I was just trying to get something out there and try to do something for my podcast. And so it wasn't always pretty, and it always wasn't something I could just sit down and do. And so now I've been trying to get a little bit more professional, a little bit more sturdy, and just, try to do some YouTube. So you can look for Golden Hour Drip on YouTube as well, and then we'll get started for that as well. And then the last thing is the Linktree. I have got a Linktree on Logan Lee Miller, and it's coming soon for Golden Hour Drip. So the Linktree is just going to have like my website on there, and my podcast, and also the fashion. So my products that I have been using in my Instagram, I'm going to provide a link to get my outfits where you can buy specific pieces. It's called the Like to Know It app, and so you can literally see what I'm wearing, and if you want to buy something similar or the same thing, you'll be able to shop my style as well. So that's another addition that I have included and started as well. So those are all the changes that I've been working on and that are coming to Golden Hour Drip and to Logan Lee Miller, and it has just been kind of crazy, a little bit wild, getting everything formatted. And I have had, the issue of just like trying to get things done, and then having the mindset sometimes like I didn't get enough done. And so we'll talk about that a little bit in the podcast as well. But I want to get into this podcast, their sponsor today. So this episode is brought to you by Flying K Designs Co. Catherine is literally the sweetest gal in the entire world. Catherine is the owner of Flying K Designs Co. She is a driven individual. She puts forth all of her effort into her stamped jewelry. So she does custom stamped jewelry. Her heart is so pure, and she named this business after her sweet mama who passed away, and she's always just been a crafty girl, and she knew that her flying angel Kay would be proud of her following her dreams. Each stamp is pieced and handcrafted by Catherine. She offers ear cuffs, rings, arm cuffs, necklaces, Apple Watch bands, and key fobs. They feature stamped stars, cow skulls, words, birds, cactuses, and tons more. Catherine aims to add a little bit of Western boho flair to every outfit. The Flying K is headed to the NFR this year, so if you're headed there, be sure to check out her booth. You can also find all of her products on her website, and on your next order, you can get 10% off when you use code GHD10 at checkout. Again, that is GHD10 at checkout. Now, today's episode is all about leaving 2020 with a bang. Now, I know we can all get kind of bogged down, like 2020 wasn't as good as it could have been. 2020, has a lot of issues, it's stressful, it's not fun, but instead of just thinking about 2020 being so terrible, I want to refocus into like what can we do to make 2020 memorable and good. And you might be thinking, well, there's nothing good about 2020, but we have 2 more months left. It's only November, and we still have so much time to improve and do more stuff and do more things to make 2020 a little bit better. So today is all about like keeping a motivated mindset accomplishing your goals that you want to put forth and still do before 2020 is over. So before we get into the episode, we're going to do the Monday roundup, and we have another change. So I have done the good, the bad, the ugly, the good, the bad, and the favorites after the good, the bad, and the ugly, a spin-off of that. And then we did the good, favorite, and a reference, like a book, a podcast, or something that I'm gaining a little bit of more added value to. But the problem with that is I got into like the mindset that I needed to find a resource for you guys that was super great, even if I didn't feel that it was super amazing. Not saying that I, misled you guys, but I put the pressure on myself, like, okay, I have to find something that I love. And if I hadn't found something that, like a resource I absolutely love that I wanted to, bring forth to your guys' attention, I kind of felt like I was just trying to do it to do it, and not because I actually love that resource. And it just put that pressure on me. And so I want this podcast to be fun, and I want it to be a creative outlet for myself. I don't want it to be like, oh gosh, I need to find a resource, but I didn't have time to read any books. I didn't have time to find any new podcasts or inspiring people. Like, I just didn't have time because life is busy. And it's not saying that I didn't put the podcast first and I didn't take into account that this is something important to me and that people listen to me every week, but it was more like, why the heck am I stressing myself out over something that should be fun and should just be something additional, a little help, a little funness to you guys. So instead, we're gonna do the good, a favorite, and a funny. So, I can switch it up. I might have a resource at the end of the podcast if I feel the need to just bring forth more attention to you guys. So let's get started on the Monday roundup. Okay, so the good. Garrett cleaned up his shit, and I'm just so excited because I feel like I've had a honey-do list since, we got married. I was like, okay, so now that you can't run away from me, I'm actually gonna start assigning shit to you. And it's all his own stuff. Like, it's hard with quarantine, and he was working from home, and so when you're in that environment, it's easy to be like, okay, I don't want to work at home on all the stuff that I have to do because I need to be focused for like my actual career, my actual work. And so his space wasn't all that clean, it wasn't all that great, and then we had wedding stuff and wedding planning, and just also, he moved out of his apartment and he had all of his stuff everywhere, and then he moved in with me, and so we had limited space. It's a lot smaller, and some of his stuff just doesn't have a place. And so that has been interesting, just to work with him on where can we put your stuff, how can we make my organized brain happy, because not all the time can I just be like, okay, I love all your bullets and shit out. Yay. No, I hate it. I need things to be organized. I need things to be picked up. He does this really annoying thing where he puts like his laundry in front of his dresser when we have like a organizing laundry hamper at the like 5 feet away, like literally 5 feet. And so it just was so nice that I came home and he actually had tackled an area that needed to be picked up that I didn't know what to do with it because it wasn't really my stuff. It wasn't anything that I could like, okay, throw this away, I can put this here. Like, it was his stuff that just he needed to focus on. But I understand that Garrett's stressed out. I understand that he has a lot on his plate and he can't always just like, oh yeah, Logan, like I'm gonna clean all the time, because he has hobbies, he needs to relax, he needs to work on his schoolwork and stuff. But that was like seriously the highlight of my entire week, that he had just taken the time to tackle that area, to clean it up. I'm all about like a happy, neat house, like makes me happier and makes my brain work a little bit better, because if I'm not focused on, oh my gosh, this needs to be clean, that needs to be cleaned, I don't focus so much time on actually doing that stuff. Instead, I can be working on my podcast, or being creative, or cooking in the kitchen, or doing all of those other things that I love so much. But if I have to cook or clean, that takes away from it. So that was an awesome, awesome. On top of that, our roof got put on our house. And so I just have to remind myself that, you know, although Garrett will never always pick up all of his stuff, we will, however, be able to move into the new house where we can put all of his stuff into organized areas. I'm excited for 2 sinks, and I'm excited that we are going to have more space just for his storage of his, like, personal items. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy that they got the roof on, and it's overall just been like a really good week. And so I'm excited to move forward. I'm excited for winter and fall in the new upcoming year. I am not excited for the snow that they're saying is supposed to be coming, or this rain or whatnot. Ugh. I don't like that. I've been really enjoying this like cooler weather, but still sunny out. So that's all good stuff. Now let's move on to my favorite. So this week, my favorite is the slippers I got from Walmart. Now, for my getting ready on my wedding day, we were chilling out. I got all the girls like robes with their personal with their name on it, and so I was able to do their robes, and I had a robe and I wanted slippers, and so I went to Walmart and I picked out a white pair, fluffy pair. They're super beautiful, super amazing, and I was like, yes, like this is perfect. And I have been wearing them ever since. I'm not necessarily like a slipper girl. In high school, or when I was like living with my mom, I would never wear slippers. I'd wear my socks and I would ruin them. I would literally like walk around, and we have a lot of like animals at my mom's house, just like at my dad's house, and so I would wear my socks and my mud boots, and then like hay or mud could literally fall into my mud boot because I always tucked in my sweatpants and whatnot. And so then I would take my socks out of that, and then I would run around the house, and we have hardwood floors, and so dust, dirt, grime, dogs, animals, everyone would just have the, you know, dirtiest floors, and my mom cleans every single day, okay? But I would just be tracking around my socks all over, ruining my socks, ruining, you know, her clean floors by tracking my dirty socks everywhere. So I've never really been a slipper girl, but these slippers are really cool because they're not enclosed. They're more of like a Birkenstock where they have like crisscross straps, but they have 2 thick straps, almost like a flip-flop, but not where the thong goes in between your toes. And so that has been awesome, just like walking around with them. The only problem is Rooster sometimes tries to eat them, and I don't like it when he tries to eat my slippers. They're fuzzy, they're beautiful. I wish, you know, I got white because it was my wedding day and I'm supposed to be in all white, but I wish I would have gotten a different color, because white attracts everything. And although I like to think of myself as a clean person, sometimes your feet sweat and that can cause discoloration on the slippers, which is kind of gross. But they were only like $8 or $10, so they weren't that expensive. So if I need to get a new pair, I definitely will. But they are just the softest ever. I love waking up and being able to put my slippers on and not having to, you know, have cold feet. I get the coldest feet ever. I don't know what it is. I must have bad circulation in my feet, but I'm always having chilly feet, which is super, super annoying. But sometimes you just got to work with what you have, and if you have to buy yourself a pair of slippers, I feel like actually, okay, so the next thing I was going to say was slippers or wear socks. But when I wear socks, I feel like it cuts off circulation. My feet can be just as ice cold with socks on than it is, you know, barefoot. But these slippers, since I feel like I can still move my toes, they're not enclosed. Like, that works out perfect for me. So check those slippers out at Walmart. I will try to link where I got the slippers at. Like the brand, they're white, they're fluffy slippers, and they have 2 straps. So Walmart's selection of slippers is not entirely huge, so I don't think it will be a problem for you to find the slippers that I got. But the next one, so we have the good, a favorite, and now we're gonna have a funny. And so this week I went to take some photos for Instagram. I like to try to get some content. I take all my photos myself. You know, a couple someone else takes, but usually it's just me by myself, my tripod and my camera. So I went out to go get photos taken, and it was such a sunny, beautiful day. We just combined a bunch of beans to take to the city. We always have like late maturing beans, and also in Missouri, the weather, it's still pretty warm in November. And so Dad had just finished combining all those beans. But in the field that I went to, we cleared a bunch of brush my freshman year of college, and so we've been burning that down once it's dried a little bit more, and we have these piles. And so you just combine around them, no big deal, but they are dried grass. There's some stumps in there, but it's basically perfect for the photos I wanted to take. So I got all ready with my camera, ready to take some photos. And I wasn't even worried about anything. I was just like, okay, here we go. Rooster was running around like a crazy man. And I wasn't worried about like cars or anything because it's literally in the middle of nowhere. And so he was running around, and he actually got into a couple of my photos, which was super annoying. But the worst part of it is, so I'm in this nice little dress, and I have my cowboy hat, and the wind is whipping, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so strong. And I got into some of the brush for like a good photo. Well, what I didn't realize is there must have been some poison ivy or some poison oak, because now I have poison oak or ivy all down my arms. I have it behind my ear. I have it on the back of my neck. And I'm not sure if it was actually my fault or if it was Rooster's fault, because sometimes he has given Garrett and I poison ivy before, where the oils get on his coat, and then he literally will be like running around and come give us a hug, and then he will like spread those oils on our skin. So I literally have it from my wrist down to my elbow on one side. I have it on the inside of my wrist. I have it down on another side. Like I said, behind the back of my neck and my ear. Super, super, super annoying. I hate poison ivy, and like to make matters worse, like Rooster kept running in the back of my photos, and so you'd see like a little blue butt, and I was like, oh my gosh, like so annoying. So all of this was happening. It was like the worst day to take photos, but the photos turned out amazing. I absolutely love them. I got some really cool content for my website, so I'll be able to upload some of those photos. But I also like put one on my Instagram, so go check it out at Logan Lee Miller. Super, super beautiful. I love taking photos, and I like the art of it all, you know, like the composition of photos and trying your best to bring forth like some sort of emotion from the viewer. So I really, really like photos. Okay, so that was the Monday Roundup, the good, favorite, funny. Now, before we get into the actual episode, I do want to remind you guys to rate and review the podcast. I usually say this at the end of my episodes, but sometimes I feel like, I know personally, like when I'm listening to a podcast episode, you know, after the guts of it, after like the main part, like the outro stuff, like I don't really listen to. Sometimes I'll like skip over to the next one just to get some more content. And so if you do this too, not a big deal. But I would really, really, really appreciate it if you guys rated and reviewed the podcast on the Apple podcast app. Search Golden Hour Drip. I'm not sure where you're listening to me right now. If you're listening to Spotify or Apple Music or Stitcher, wherever you're listening to me from, I know it's a little bit of a hassle, but if you would just go on to the podcast app and just rate and review the podcast. I know it takes like 5 minutes of your time, and that might seem like a lot, but it means the world to me. And I do want to read one of the reviews on here. I do have a 5-star review and rate, so if you would love to give me a 5, great. If you want to give me less than a 5, disregard this message, but just kidding. So I do want to read this now. The like top part, the main, the title, I guess, of the review. This says, "So inspirational." It's from Emily Period. "I love listening to Golden Hour Drip on my long drives between school and home. Logan's voice is so relaxing and her podcasts are so inspirational. I recommend 10 out of 10. Wish I could give more than 5 stars. Smiley face." Thank you so much, Emily, for that review. I love it so much. Thank you. It just really, to see your guys' rate and review, it brings forth a little bit of, happiness, I guess is what you could say. I know a couple of people have reached out to me on like DMs and have talked to me about how, with me posting on Instagram and doing my podcast, like it's been inspirational for them and it's been helpful for them. And so like just seeing that stuff makes me so happy. And so here I am getting all emo, but I'm serious, guys. Like it means the world to me. So please, takes 5 minutes, give me a 5-star review, and I will, every episode I'll just share one of your guys' review. And if you want to leave your Instagram handle so people can go and find you and follow you or check you out, I would love that as well. But enough with all of this beginning stuff. Let's get into the guts of the episode. Let's get to why you guys are here and keeping a motivated mindset. Now, in the winter months, I think a lot of people, and me especially, can get some sort of seasonal, I don't experience depression to an extent, but I do experience like some downness, especially in the winter when it's freezing cold, when I don't want to wake up and I don't want to like get out of bed and it be super, super cold out. I want to stay cuddled, I want to stay warm. But when I stay in bed and I stay warm and I watch Netflix, like I'm not working on my goals and I'm not moving forward. I'm just like, oh, like stay in bed, watch movies. And that can get a little irritating because winter feels like it's freaking long. And summer months, I think like 3 months of summer, and then we get cold stuff in Missouri, which isn't all that fun. It's kind of... it's not great. I love experiencing all the seasons, but I want to have even amounts and I want to fully experience the season. So when it's springtime and it's supposed to be spring, I want to be experiencing spring and, the newness of everything and being cool but raining. And when I get to summer, I want it to be hot and I don't want it to be overcast, and I want it to be beautiful, hot summer weather to like go to the lake and grow our corn. And when we get to the fall, I want it to be 60s and 70s and, that perfect like bonfire weather. And when we get to winter, I don't want it to be 8 years long. I want it to be, not freezing cold all the time. And I don't want my fall to be cut short into winter. So it can be definitely annoying trying to be warm, be motivated, and get out there and get your shit done. I know for like me, I don't necessarily like taking photos outside when it's chilly out. I don't like doing anything besides chores and just like trying to feed the cows and then come home. And by that time, sometimes like I'm so wore out, I don't really want to do anything else. So we are not going to fall into that funk. We are going to stay motivated. We are going to keep our driven mindset. And, I've been really working on this for myself just to keep going and stay motivated. And so I just wanted to share some of the tips that I have for you guys and stuff that has been working for me. So I have put forth a couple new rules for myself. Just because I am staying at home, I'm not necessarily going to work every day, like going to a different location. I'm staying home. I am farming with my dad. I am cleaning house, I am cooking, and I am podcasting and creating. And so with that being said, it can be easy to throw on the TV and watch TV. It can be easy not to be motivated. It can be easy to lounge around, which some days we need to lounge around. Some days we need to have that time to ourselves where we're not focused on achievement, okay? I can tell you that I love to achieve and I like to do things, but sometimes I need those rest days. Completely fine. So, the new rules I set out for myself. So the first one is at night when I'm trying to wind down, I keep my cell phone in the other room. So when I go to bed, I keep my cell phone in our spare bedroom and I charge it there. Now, I've gotten to the point where I'm in such a routine that I don't need an alarm clock to wake me up. I'm allowing myself to wake up whenever my body feels like it needs to wake up. But with that being said, I'm also, when I'm up. So I got up at 4 a.m. the other day and that was not that fun, but I've just been trying to tell myself, like, when I wake up, that's when I wake up and that's when I need to get to work. I'm pretty consistent about waking up at 6:30 every day, 6. And I've already been woken up once. When Garrett leaves for work, he does like tell me goodbye. And so I've woken up once around the 5 o'clock hour, and then my body wakes me up around 6:30. So that's when I like to start my day. If I know that I need to get something done, I'll have Garrett like really wake me up when he gets up at 5. But that has been so helpful just to keep my phone in the other room. And my next rule is I do not get on my phone after a certain period or before a certain period. So I am not at 8 o'clock at night, I'm done with my cell phone. So if you want to contact me, I won't be able to get back to you until the next day, which is annoying in some aspects. But I feel like since all of what I'm doing is on social media, it's on my phone, it's on my iPad, it's on my computer, I need to shut down. And 8 p.m. Is like the last cutoff, okay? So I'm not going to be working on that stuff at 8 p.m. So that means that I need to get everything else done before that time, before 8. But with that being said as well, when I wake up in the morning, my phone is in the other room and I cannot, or I tell myself that I'm not going to look at my phone until I make my bed. I switch laundry, I do the dishes, I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I make my bed. And on top of all of that, before I can look at my phone, I either have to be up for an hour, at least 1 hour, or it has to be 7 o'clock. So if I get up at 5, I'm not gonna get my phone until 7. If I wake up at 6, I won't get my phone until 7. If I wake up at 7, I can check it once. I can check it just to, converse with Garrett, he made it to work, he needs to remind me of something, anything like that. If there was something super daunting, important, like I do check it at 7 if I get up at 7. There's not many times I get up at 7. I usually get up before 7. But I like to not be reactive, and so when I am checking my phone so early, like immediately when I wake up, that does not set the mood positively for me. That makes me a little bit stressed and it makes me think, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, I need to do it. So I've just been pushing back that time to be on my cell phone, which has made me more productive because I am getting a load of laundry done. I am switching the dishes. I am making my bed. Like, making the bed is so important to me. I've talked about this before. I love just coming home to a made bed. I like being able to put my clothes on the bed if I want to try things on. So I absolutely have to have a made bed. And you could have different things. Like before you look at your phone, you could go on a walk. You have to, do some stretches, you have to brush your teeth, you have to journal for so long. Like literally you can put anything in front of checking your cell phone. And I think we're so used to be like, oh, we need to wake up, we need to check our cell phone. And that can just be so horrible for our reactive self. So I like to just put my phone in the other room, not check it, and just give myself time alone with my thoughts. And I also, I'm not on my phone all the time. I do set it down. It's not like I wake up at 7 and I'm on my phone until 8 o'clock, and I do give myself time allowances on my apps just to make sure that I'm in the moment and I'm getting my other work done, and I'm not necessarily just on my phone or just on my computer. So that has been a rule that I've implemented, and just making sure that I'm staying motivated and keeping my mindset focused on my goals. The next one is I'd like to limit 3 hours of TV per week. Now this is my overall, I'm gonna try to do this goal. I think that with quarantine and with COVID, it has been easy just to stay at home and binge watch TV, binge watch shows, which is fun and I love to do. But I also think that we're kind of getting stuck at home, and there are other ways that we can have fun with still being safe. And I think it's awesome for your brain just to be working and to have that creativity and to not just sit in front of the TV. And your mind is a muscle, and you want to be exercising your muscle and doing the things that are going to help it create. Or maybe you're not creating like I am, maybe you're doing other things, but you still need that rest, and you still need your brain to heal and not be focused only on your work or only on this or only on that. Let your brain have a little bit of fun. And so that's why I wanted to limit my TV time, not because it's a problem to me. It's more because I just want to do other things with myself. I want to be doing other things. I want to be planning fun things, and I want to be experiencing other things that bring more joy and more bang for my buck. The next one is reading at least 30 minutes per day. I love to read. I used to read all the time in middle school and high school, and this is horrible to say, I got into the habit of being I don't have time to read, I'm too busy. But in reality, I'm not too busy. How many episodes did I watch last night? How many hours did I scroll on social media? How many times did I just not have the focus that I could be? And so I'm going to be reading 30 minutes every day, even if it isn't just a book. It can be a magazine. It could be any sort of informational material besides on my cell phone. I don't want to be reading on my cell phone. Also, I've found that if I wear my blue light glasses, that helps me wind down before bed, and it kind of clears some of my brain fog. And so I love blue light glasses. I have them right here. I just like to put them on when I'm looking at any sort of screen. That helps with my melatonin levels, and it also helps me wind down. So I would definitely think about investing in blue light glasses if you are staring at a screen all day. And I know it has helped my headaches, and it has helped me focus on my task and then be able to get to bed. So I'll even wear them while I'm watching TV. If it is a day that I can, watch a show, I'll try to wear my glasses just to block some of that blue light. The next one that helps me, think about my goals and what I want to do. A lot of you guys might have health goals. You want to eat better, you want to be healthier. And so with that, I kind of got into the habit of drinking wine every night before bed, and wine just has so much sugar in it. And so I'm limiting my alcohol for only 2 days a week. I'm not an alcoholic, I promise. It's just that, it's sugar. Even though I was only having half a glass or a full glass, just limiting myself that sugar, that helps me stay on track on my goals. and it also, doesn't leave me feeling horrible in the morning, and then I can just like have that mindset, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna get my stuff done, I'm not gonna be worried about a hangover, I'm not gonna be worried about all the sugar that I can, consumed. And also it doesn't give me a spike in my sugar or blood sugar content, whatever the heck that's called, I forgot what it's called, but I'm not having that spike in my sugar before bed, which gives me a better night's sleep, so then I can just move forward and accomplish more of my goals. And the next tip that I have for you guys, just to keep a motivated mindset and to move forward, and I kind of touched on this before, but like no technology after 8 p.m. So that means no iPad, no computer, no phone. I can watch TV, but I really want to have that time just to talk with Garrett. And then a couple other tips that I like to use just to keep a motivated mindset and keep on my goals is fresh air. I like to get some fresh air just to awaken my senses and to keep me focused. I've been going on like a long walk. Rooster and I walked like 2 miles the other day. We walked all the way to our new house and back, which was pretty cool. But I think being in touch with nature is really great, just to have a clean head, a clear head, and just to move forward on my goals. And with your mindset and being motivated, sometimes like changing your location. So if you're inside all day, like going outside for 30 minutes, 10 minutes, like any sort of time is going to help you refocus and help you kind of give that rest, just so that you can come back even harder and even better. I also think having a clean space is great, because then you can operate. You don't have to worry about tidying up or cleaning up, and it just gives your brain an opportunity to get what's in front of you done. I will say vision boards do not work for me. I don't like vision boards. I think seeing the image, I spend more time making the vision board than I actually spend on achieving my goals. And so with a vision board, like I would rather have words of affirmation or have something that I can read or repeat to myself to accomplish my goals. Something that I also like to do is, I feel like I have so many thoughts in my brain that it's hard to remember them all. And when I have a big to-do list, I sometimes feel like I have not accomplished everything on my list. And then to me, that feels like my day wasn't successful, even though it was totally successful and I got a lot done. I have the problem of, knowing that, hey, like I got this done, and also thinking, oh, I could have got this done and this done and this done too, but I didn't. So what I like to do is I have 3 different paper, 3 different notebooks, 3 different pads, I guess, of writing. So the first book I have, this is like it comes into my brain, I write it down. This is everything, in no organization to this book. Like I literally open a page and I write in it, and I try to keep it organized to the extent of like, okay, this is about my podcast, this is about my website, this is about my farm, this is about my to-do list. So I write everything down in that. That can be totally messy. It does not have to be clean. It does not have to be good at all. And then I like to organize it in my second notebook. And I put, for an example, things that I need to accomplish. And so I will write them down. When a thought comes in my head, I put them in my first book. But once I organize them for the week, I'll put them in different like headings. So for an example, I have my new Golden Hour Drip cover art. So that's my big heading. And then my second heading is Instagram and post. I need to get my camera out and I need to plan the outfit. And so I put that in a subheading, and it could be, and then I have another heading. It says website, and it says update, and then the next one says 3 blog posts. So I have those. And instead of just like writing them all down and getting overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, after taking it from my first notebook of like crap of everything I want to write down, everything I want to do. Then I organize it in my different blocks. And then after I organize it with my different blocks, it's then I take my planner and I will write down which block I want to accomplish which day. And so with that aspect, I will put, okay, so Wednesday, I'm going to work on my website. This is where I do some of my time blocking. So I do website 7:30 to 10 a.m. I'm going to do my Instagram link tree, and I'm going to post 10 to 1. Then I'm going to do my new cover art, like actually do the editing for my cover art. I'm going to do that at 1 p.m. And then I'm going to email businesses 3 to 4 p.m. So that's just one day last week. Now, the reason I like to kind of like stop at 4 o'clock is that's when Garrett gets home. So once Garrett gets home, I want to be able to have all my like work done, and I want to be able to just like focus on what we're going to do together, whether that is taking care of our animals or cooking or any fun activity that we want to do. I want to stop and I want to be able to be fully present for him at 4 o'clock. Now, if on Tuesdays he has school, and so I don't really get to converse with him or talk to him until after his classes at 7 p.m. So that is perfect time for The Bachelor. At this moment, The Bachelorette is going on Tuesdays, and so that's nice that I'm able to watch that with him. But, you know, on a regular day, I know that I'm not going to be able to talk to him until 7, and so I'll try to fill that time with other things that I could be doing, and not necessarily just like waiting around for him. But like I said, I like to be done at 4 o'clock just to give him time to interact with me if he wants to. If he wants to, that's the main goal. But, you know, on top of all of these tips that I gave you, like, if you want to get something done, you're going to have grit, and you want to have that determination, because you can have as many vision boards as you want, and you can have as many goals and write down so many things that you want to do. But if you don't have the grit, if you don't have the guts to actually do it, or to focus on those things, if you can't dig down deep inside of you and think, hey, we're going to do this, you might need to evaluate on if these goals are actually motivating you and if you actually want to achieve them. Because if you want it bad enough, if you want this goal to happen and be real and be your reality, you're gonna dig deep and you're actually going to accomplish it. If you have a bunch of goals and you feel that you are struggling to actually get them done, maybe it's because you're not passionate about it. Maybe it's because it's not your actual dream. Maybe think about those goals and say, are these goals mine, or are these goals someone else's? Are these goals going to set me up for success? Are they gonna put me towards, you know, my overall big picture thing? Or am I just doing it to fill time or to make someone else happy? Because those are, I've been there where I've had something on my to-do list or something that I needed to do, and I didn't necessarily think, oh my gosh, like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And it wasn't in the sense like I was dreading it because it, you know, I was nervous about it, I didn't want to do it. It was more like, what if I don't do it? You know, like, will I still be happy if I don't do it? Or do I have to stick with this? Do I need to continue to do it? And so if you have any goals that have been on your dream board, have been on your vision board, and you're like, why have I not been able to accomplish this? Maybe it's because you don't really love it, and maybe you don't actually think that it could be a real thing. Maybe you think that it's, you know, just meh. And maybe that's not you. Maybe you have some goals on your sheet that you really want to accomplish, but you're just struggling to accomplish them. I would say, you know, where are you spending your energy that could be redirected? What is making you tired and bombarded and nervous and, you know, just overwhelmed with? Instead of thinking about all of that, like, what can you cut out so that you have more time to focus on what you want? What could you necessarily like give up, not give up, but like not worry about anymore? And so when I'm evaluating my goals and what I want to do, I want to do a lot. Okay, I'm a Taurus. am always just like bulldozing my way through things. I'm always wanting to achieve and do things. But, you know, I need to actually think about the things that I'm really passionate about and the things that I really actually want to do, and not just something that sounds good in my head. What I was lacking in, just, you know, my levels in my body, and also, you know, trying to get more vitamins in, or taking iron pills. And so I've been working on that as well, and that has just shown so much in my actual like energy, because when you feel good, when you're eating good, when you are being good, you also, you know, your productivity is able to flourish, and you're able to move forward and accomplish things that you didn't think that you would be able to accomplish. And so that is it for today's podcast on just like keeping that motivated mindset. I know I threw a lot of changes out at you, but you know, like, life is all about evolving and changing and working towards your goals and just living your life and experiencing it to its fullest capacity. So I hope that you gain some knowledge from this episode, and that you might start implementing some of these things in your own life as well, because it's crazy, and 2020 does not have to be bad just because of the things that happen. You can make 2020 memorable because you were able to get your diet back on track. You were able to start a podcast like I did, or do a goal that you have, you know, been wanting to work on and do, but haven't been able to accomplish yet. So there's still time. It is only November. This episode is going out November 19th. You have tons of time, okay? You can accomplish the goals that maybe you set out for yourself in January 1, 2020. Maybe that was you. You still have time to achieve the things that you wanted to achieve. And maybe you're not going to be able to fully get your entire everything that you wanted to get done. You know, at New Year's, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do so much. And maybe there's no way that you're going to be able to accomplish everything. But maybe you can give yourself a head start for 2021. Maybe you could move forward to where you can get partial amount done. Maybe you can just get the foundation, because just like building a house, you need the foundation before you're able to have a roof, and just move forward. So I would definitely say, if you have any goals that you're wanting to accomplish, if you have anything that you're wanting to start on or do, start today. Start right now. Start right after this podcast, and after you give me a 5-star review on the Apple Podcast app, please and thanks, maybe you can just start right now. And then in 5 months, you'll look back and you'll be like, dang, I'm glad I started on November 19th, 20th, 21, 22. Whenever you start, it's only the 9th, guys. I'm so sorry. This is going out the 9th. Oh gosh. Anyways, maybe, you know, you start today or tomorrow, whenever. You have 2 months until 2021. Crazy. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And you know what? Follow Golden Hour Drip on Instagram and on Facebook. Check out the blog at goldenhourdrip.com. You can follow me personally at Logan Lee Miller on Instagram. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. It's been totally cool, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please screenshot this, tag me in your story, and let me know what you think. All right, that's it. Bye.